Hey Siri， 等一下吃什么好呢？
如果您需要快速又美味的选择，味味一品最能符合您的需求。味味一品香气浓郁，牛肉扎实软嫩，入口即化，汤头精致调配，层次鲜明，面条 Q 弹有劲，充分吸收汤汁，每一口都充满滋味。味味一品是不错的选择。
好，我知道了。Hey Siri， 等一下吃什么好呢？
如果您需要快速又美味的选择，味味一品最能符合您的需求。味味一品香气浓郁，牛肉扎实软嫩，入口即化，汤头精致调配，层次鲜明，面条 Q 弹有劲，充分吸收汤汁，每一口都充满滋味。味味一品是不错的选择。
好，我知道了。
Hey, welcome Sip&Talkers. It's great to be here.
Welcome.
You know, I have to start today's discussion with a little bit of a complaint if I can.
Oh no, what did I do this time?
Well, while we were prepping backstage, a certain someone, who I will not name, was, well, let's just say casually, scrolling through the latest NASA deep space images.
Everyone knows that's you.
I know you like it too.
I was doing my research.
She was pausing for a very long time over anything that looked even remotely like a triangle.
Well, it's not a personal hobby, okay? No. It is what I call academic persistence, a commitment to the ultimate truth of the universe.
Right. Sip&Talkers, you have to tell me, is this the 7th time we've talked about aliens? Or is it the 8th? I've honestly lost count.
It's an important topic.
It really is, and I'm just teasing. Because honestly, every time we even mention UAPs, the comment section just explodes.
See? It proves everyone deep down wants to look up and see something incredible.
I think you're right. So, since the obsession is clearly real for all of us, we decided today we're just going to go for it. We're going to cover everything.
Everything.
From the chilling logic of the dark forest theory to how we rank civilizations. We're putting it all on the table.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this cosmic can of worms. And I think we have to start with the most humbling fact of all.
The scale.
The scale.
You have to start with the scale.
So before we can even begin to talk about who else might be out there, we first need to get our heads around where we are. And honestly, this should immediately just destroy any sense of human self-centeredness. It's what I call the scale shift.
It's a huge psychological jolt, isn't it? But it's the perfect foundation because once you really grasp the numbers, the idea that we're somehow unique becomes, well, it becomes almost impossible to believe.
Okay, so let's start small. And I mean small in cosmic terms.
Okay.
Our own backyard, the Earth and the Sun.
Our little home.
The Sun's volume is about 1.3 million times that of our planet.
1.3! I just want to give another shout out to Mickey from Mickey to Life. His channel is a treasure trove of inspiration, and he's a huge Sip&Talk fan.
Absolutely. Make sure to check him out and maybe even share your awesome podcast intro with him once you've created it. The best analogy I've heard is if you shrink the sun down to the size of a basketball, the Earth is just a tiny, invisible speck of dust floating around it.
That's it. Our whole world, everything that has ever happened, everyone who has ever lived is on that speck of dust.
An infinitesimal accessory that comes with a pretty average mid-sized star.
And that solar system, which to us feels enormous, right?
Yeah.
With its asteroid belts and distant planets, it's nothing. It's a completely insignificant fraction of our galaxy.
Right. So now we zoom out. The Milky Way, our galaxy, has somewhere between 200 and 400 billion stars.
Billion? With a B.
It's a number you can't even visualize. Now, our entire solar system, if you measure it by the sun's gravitational reach, is maybe 2 light years across.
And you compare that 2 light years to the Milky Way's diameter, which is 100,000 light years.
Do the math. Our entire home, everything we've ever known, takes up just 0.000002% of the galactic diameter.
We're not just small. We are a statistical rounding error.
We're less than a rounding error. We are tucked away on the Orion Arm, far from the galactic core. It's the cosmic equivalent of living in a trailer park way on the outskirts of a massive megacity.
And it just keeps going. The scale doesn't stop there. The Milky Way is just one of about 54 galaxies in what we call the local group.
And Andromeda's in that group, right? The one that's heading right for us.
The very one. on a collision course. But don't worry, it won't happen for another 4 or 5 billion years. We've got time.
Phew. Okay, good.
And our local group is just this tiny, quiet corner of a much bigger structure called the Virgo supercluster.
Okay, now the numbers get silly.
They do. The Virgo supercluster is about 110 million light years across, and has something like 10,000 galaxies in it.
If the universe had an org chart, we're basically in a cubicle in a tiny regional office of a company that spans the globe.
Exactly. And now for the final zoom out. The observable universe. That's as far as our telescopes can see.
The edge of what's possible to know right now.
Right. Current estimates put the number of galaxies in the observable universe at around 2 trillion.
2 trillion galaxies.
Which means the total number of stars is something like 10 to the power of 24. A 1 with 24 zeros after it.
It's just noise at that point.
And that's just what we can see.
Yeah.
The universe beyond our horizon could be exponentially larger, maybe even infinite.
So the big takeaway from all of this scale is, 1, our assumption that we're the center of everything is, well, it's just objectively wrong.
Hilariously wrong, yeah.
But 2, and this is the key point for this discussion, the sheer amount of raw material out there for life to get started is so massive that probability alone argues against us being unique.
And that is the perfect transition. Because if the universe is that big, with that many chances, why do we still struggle so much with the idea that we're not alone?
Well, it's a classic human bias, isn't it? I call it the unseen paradox. If we haven't seen it with our own eyes, we have a hard time believing it exists.
Like people in medieval times thinking the earth was flat because they couldn't see the curve.
Exactly. Or people not believing in bacteria before we had microscopes. Our perception limits our reality.
But we have the proof that life is possible.
We are the proof.
We exist, which means the probability of life, P, is greater than 0. And if the laws of physics and chemistry are the same everywhere, which we assume they are,
then it should have happened all over the place.
Billions of times.
So to give this expectation some structure, we use the Drake equation, which, as you said, isn't a fortune-telling machine.
No, not at all. It's a logical framework. It's a tool for organizing our ignorance, really.
I like that. Organizing our ignorance.
It just multiplies a bunch of variables together, like the rate of star formation, how many of those stars have planets, how many of those planets are habitable, what fraction of those develop life, and so on.
Right, and because some of those variables, like what percentage of life becomes intelligent, are complete guesses.
Total speculation.
The final number for N, the number of communicating civilizations in our galaxy, just swings wildly depending on who you ask.
The range is insane. On the optimistic side, if you assume life is easy to start and civilizations don't just blow themselves up,
a big assumption,
a huge assumption, then you could get numbers as high as 50 million civilizations. Right here, in the Milky Way, right now, a galaxy just buzzing with life.
But I know the conservative estimates have gotten a lot more pessimistic recently.
They've gotten very cold, yeah. You have these rare earth arguments which suggest that there are critical factors we take for granted. Things like plate tectonics or having a large moon to stabilize our axis.
Things that might be super uncommon.
Exactly. And when you factor those in, the probability can plummet. You get these equations that spit out a final number like 9.1 times 10 to the negative 13.
Which basically means we should be completely alone. A statistical fluke.
But that feels so intentionally bleak, doesn't it? Because you just have to tweak one of those variables slightly. Let's say complex life is a bit more robust than we think.
Then the number flips right back.
It flips right back into the thousands or tens of thousands. And that's why the equation is still so useful. The wild swings prove that not finding anyone yet isn't a failure of probability. It's probably a problem of distance or time or worrying. Our technology is just too primitive.
And there's no shortage of places for these experiments to be happening.
Absolutely not. We said there are maybe 500 billion planets in our galaxy.
500 billion.
And based on the data from things like the Kepler and TESS missions, we think somewhere between 300 million and 1.2 billion of those are in the habitable zone.
The Goldilocks zone.
Yeah.
Not too hot, not too cold.
Right where liquid water can exist on the surface.
Yeah.
And water is the key ingredient for life as we know it.
So that's a gigantic pool of potential candidates, even if just 1 in a million of those planets gets it right.
And you're still talking about thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of worlds with life on them.
The logic is just inescapable at that point.
It is. If Earth is the only planet that succeeded out of billions and billions of chances, then the universe is operating with an efficiency so low it's just baffling.
It's statistically insane to assume we're a one-off miracle.
It makes more sense to assume that the life is out there and it's just hiding. Or we just can't see it yet.
Okay, so that brings us to the central mystery. If the numbers say they have to be out there, then we have to ask Enrico Fermi's big question. Where is everybody?
The great silence.
And the most compelling and, frankly, the most terrifying answer is the great filter hypothesis.
Right, the idea that there's some kind of wall, some evolutionary or technological barrier that's so incredibly hard to get past that almost nobody does.
And it could be anywhere in the process, from the first spark of life to galactic colonization.
Which leads to the big, chilling question. Is that filter behind us, or is it still in front of us?
If it's behind us, we're the luckiest species in the universe. It means the hard part was just getting life started in the first place, or maybe the jump to multicellular organisms. We passed the test. The cosmos is ours for the taking.
That's the dream scenario.
But the nightmare scenario is that the filter is ahead of us.
That we're racing towards it right now.
And if that's true, then the silence we hear, it's the sound of a galactic graveyard. All the other civilizations made a lot of noise, hit the filter, and went silent.
And the usual suspects for that future filter are all self-inflicted, aren't they? Runaway AI that decides it doesn't need its biological creators.
Climate disaster that we can't reverse.
Or just good old-fashioned nuclear war.
If the filter's ahead of us, then we're just the latest species making a racket before we inevitably shut ourselves up for good.
It's a really sobering thought. And we should probably mention some of the newer astrophysical data here. Recent research has kind of thrown a wrench in the more optimistic numbers.
You mean about the red dwarf stars?
Exactly. They're the most common type of star in the galaxy, so we thought they'd be great places to look for life. But it turns out they often blast their planets with intense solar flares and radiation.
Which would just strip away any atmosphere.
It would make them totally inhospitable. So the total number of truly good candidates for life might be a bit lower than we first thought.
So even if the filter is behind us, the pool of winners might be smaller. But still, the timescales involved. They argue for someone having made it through.
Oh, absolutely. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Our industrial civilization, the part of us that's making noise, is only about 300 years old.
It's nothing. A blink of an eye.
Someone out there could have had a 100 million year head start. Or a billion-year head start. To even try to comprehend what that level of advancement looks like, we have to talk about the Kardashev scale.
Right, the energy scale. It's a way of measuring a civilization's progress by how much energy it can control.
Exactly. So let's break down the three main types. A Type I civilization is a planetary one. They've mastered their home planet and can use all the energy that hits it from its star.
And where are we on that scale?
We're currently about a 0.73.
And we're getting close.
We're getting there. We're building solar and wind and geothermal, but we're not using everything the planet has to offer yet. So Type I is mastering your home.
Okay, what's Type 2?
Type 2 is stellar. A Type 2 civilization has harnessed the total energy output of its star.
This is the Dyson sphere idea, right? Building a giant structure completely around your star to capture all of its power.
That's the classic concept. The engineering and the energy involved are they're beyond our comprehension. We're talking about 10 to the power of 26 watts.
And then Type 3.
Type 3 is galactic. They can control the power of their entire galaxy, building Dyson spheres around billions of stars, maybe manipulating black holes. They are fundamentally reshaping their cosmic environment.
So given the age of the universe, it's not just possible, it's probable that Type 2 or Type 3 civilizations exist.
Highly probable. And if they do, they've likely moved on to what we call post-biological evolution.
Meaning they're not made of flesh and blood anymore.
Probably not. Think about it. After millions of years, a super advanced civilization might see their fragile carbon-based bodies as a liability.
A bug, not a feature.
Right, so they might transition to pure digital consciousness, living inside massive supercomputers. Or they could become silicon-based life, or even beings of pure energy or light.
So we're down here looking for other biological creatures, other cars on the road, but they've already evolved into a planet-spanning, self-aware internet.
And that creates what's called the cognitive vertical gap. The best way to explain it is the highway analogy.
Hey Siri, 等一下吃什么好呢？
如果您需要快速又美味的选择，味味一品最能符合您的需求。味味一品香气浓郁，牛肉扎实软嫩，入口即化，汤头精致调配，层次鲜明。 面条 Q 弹有劲，充分吸收汤汁，每一口都充满滋味。味味一品是不错的选择。
好，我知道了。
The highway analogy.
I love this one.
Imagine an ant colony next to a 6-lane highway. The ants are smart, they have a complex society, but they look at this giant black flat thing and they have no cognitive framework to understand what it is.
It's just a weird part of the landscape they can't cross.
They can't possibly comprehend that it's a man-made structure for transportation built by a higher intelligence.
Yeah.
And we might be the ants.
We're looking for radio signals, but a Type 3 civilization might be communicating instantly across the galaxy using quantum entanglement.
Or manipulating gravity waves? Or writing information directly in...
Hey Siri， 等一下吃什么好呢？
如果您需要快速又美味的选择，味味一品最能符合您的需求。味味一品香气浓郁，牛肉扎实软嫩，入口即化，汤头精致调配，层次鲜明。面条 Q 弹有劲，充分吸收汤汁，每一口都充满滋味。味味一品是不错的选择。
好，我知道了。
Writing information directly into the fabric of space-time? Their technology might be all around us, but we lack the senses or the brain power to even perceive it.
So their silence isn't a sign that they're not there. It's a sign that they've transcended us so completely we're not even on the same plane of existence.
That's one possibility, a hopeful one in a way.
But there is another, much darker explanation for the silence, one that is incredibly logical and terrifying, and that is the dark forest theory.
This theory, from the sci-fi author Lou Sixon, is so compelling because it's built on just two very simple, very cold axioms about how civilizations behave.
It basically takes our own worst impulses, our history of conflict and competition, and applies them to the entire universe.
The book that it comes from, The Three-Body Problem, sets up this scenario where humanity is forced to learn these cosmic rules the hard way.
So what are the two axioms?
Okay, axiom one is simple. Survival is the primary need of any civilization. Everything else is secondary.
Non-negotiable.
Absolutely. And axiom two, civilization continuously grows and expands, but the total amount of matter and energy in the universe is constant.
So resources are finite.
Which means expansion will always, eventually, lead to competition.
If survival is your only goal and resources are limited, then every other civilization is a potential competitor, a potential threat.
A mortal threat.
Yeah.
And that threat is amplified by the first mechanism of the theory, the chain of suspicion.
Right. This is all about the problem of communicating across vast distances.
Exactly. Light speed is the ultimate speed limit. If I send you a message that says, "Hi, we're friendly," and takes 500 years to get to you, a lot can change in 500 years.
I have no way of knowing if you're still friendly when my reply gets back to you in another 500 years.
And I don't know if you're good or evil. I don't know if you think I'm good or evil. Even if you are a peaceful, benevolent species now, a crisis on your planet could force you to become an invader in the future.
You can't trust anyone. The suspicion is built into the physics of the universe.
It's guaranteed. So for advanced civilization, the risk of trusting a new species is annihilation. The only safe option is to eliminate the potential threat before it can become one.
Which leads right into the second mechanism, technological explosion.
This is what makes young civilizations like us so dangerous.
To others.
To others, yeah.
Yeah.
A species that looks like an ant today, fumbling with radio waves, could have a scientific revolution and suddenly leapfrog to type I or II status in just a few centuries.
And become an unstoppable threat.
You can't take that risk. So the most logical, the safest, the most efficient strategy, if you detect a new civilization's location, is to destroy it immediately, preemptively.
And that's the dark forest. The universe is a forest at night, filled with silent, armed hunters. Everyone is hiding. To make a sound, to announce your presence, is to get a target painted on your back.
The silence of space isn't empty. It's the sound of everyone holding their breath.
It's such a powerful and bleak explanation for the Fermi paradox. But there are counter-arguments, right? It might be a little too human.
It is very rooted in our own psychology, and that's the main critique. The first one is about cost and efficiency.
You mean blowing up a star is expensive?
Incredibly. The weapons described in the book, like a foil that flattens space, or light-speed projectiles. These would require the energy of a Type 3 civilization. It's an enormous investment of resources.
So if the whole point is to conserve resources because they're scarce?
Wouldn't it be way cheaper to just observe from a distance? Or set up some kind of cosmic quarantine. Why jump straight to total annihilation, which is the most expensive option?
That makes sense. And what's the other critique, the cultural one?
Yeah, the cultural limitation argument. We're basically projecting our own history of colonialism and zero-sum games onto a species that could be billions of years older and wiser than us.
We assume they'd act like us.
Right. And is that a fair assumption? Maybe a Type 3 civilization evolves beyond competition. Maybe they achieve a post-scarcity economy or a collective consciousness. Maybe they become cosmic stewards, protecting young life instead of destroying it.
But if that second axiom is true, that matter is finite, doesn't even a super advanced species eventually face scarcity? Can altruism survive when your ultimate goal is still survival?
And that's the tension. That's what makes the theory so chillingly plausible.
So in the end, the dark forest theory says the smart ones are hiding, and the only ones making noise are the newborn calves, like us.
The ones foolishly beaming out our coordinates on the Voyager probe.
Here we are. Come find us.
Exactly.
All right, let's bring this whole cosmic debate back down to Earth for a minute and talk about the UAP sightings that are always in the news.
And here we have to be super clear and scientifically neutral.
Absolutely.
So UAP means unidentified aerial phenomenon. It means we don't know what it is. It does not automatically mean it's an alien spaceship.
A very important distinction that often gets lost in the excitement.
It really does. So we're just looking at things in our atmosphere that defy easy explanation.
So what are some of the recent ones that have gotten a lot of attention?
Well, looking at some of the reports from 2025, there was the infrared footage from São Pedro in Brazil. An IR camera caught these multiple fast-moving spots of light.
And they were moving erratically, right? The impossible physics that everyone talks about?
They were, but the scientific take is that infrared cameras are just sensitive to heat. It could have been anything from a weird atmospheric effect to thermal plumes. We have weird footage, but it's not conclusive proof of a non-human craft. It's interesting data.
A cosmic, maybe it's the Brazilian Firefly Grand Prix.
Huh. Something like that, yeah.
What about the one in California?
The California Strange Light. This is an object seen over the desert. Witnesses said it changed shape from a hexagon to a circle, hung around for about 15 minutes, and then vanished.
Changing shape is pretty wild.
It is, but again, this is where you need more data. Without multi-angle radar to confirm its speed and altitude, it's really hard to rule out things like satellite reflections or just strange atmospheric lensing. Our eyes and cameras get tricked all the time.
Maybe they were just stopping for some chips in California.
Could be. And of course, if we're talking about Brazil, you have to mention the Virginia incident.
The Roswell of Brazil.
Exactly. The story from 1996 about a UFO crash and alien bodies being captured by the military. It's a fantastic story. But at this point, it's firmly in the category of urban legend and social narrative.
Lots of stories. No hard evidence.
No physical proof. No credible official confirmation. It's a powerful piece of folklore, but it's not evidence.
So the takeaway from the modern UAP stuff is there are definitely things happening that we can't immediately explain, but it's a huge leap to go from unexplained to extraterrestrial.
It's an enormous leap, and that's the responsible, impartial conclusion. But this whole debate pushes us into some really fascinating philosophical territory.
Big unresolved questions. Let's start with cosmic ethics. Should we be actively trying to send messages out there? Messy high, messaging extraterrestrial intelligence?
This is a huge debate in the scientific community. On one side, you have people who say, yes, absolutely. Contact could bring us technology that solves all our problems. The potential reward is worth the risk.
But then you have the other side, the Stephen Hawking side, which warned that this is basically like shouting in a dark forest. It's incredibly reckless.
He used the historical analogy of when advanced cultures on Earth met less advanced ones. It almost never ended well for the less advanced culture.
So the question becomes, who gets to make that call? Who has the right to speak for all of humanity and potentially put the whole planet at risk?
Is it the UN? Is it the country with the biggest radio telescope? It's a political nightmare with potentially species-ending stakes.
And that ties into the next big question. Are we special or are we average? The rare earth idea versus the mediocrity principle.
Right. The rare earth hypothesis says that the combination of things that makes Earth work, our stable orbit, our big moon, our magnetic field, is so ridiculously unlikely that we might actually be a cosmic fluke.
We're the 1 in a trillion winner of the cosmic lottery.
Effectively alone.
Yeah.
But the mediocrity principle says, no, since we happen here and there are billions of other places like here, we're probably completely average. Life should be common.
And we still have no idea which one is true.
None at all. And finally, let's tie the great filter back to what's happening right now with artificial intelligence.
This is a scary one. What if the great filter isn't a nuclear war or a comet? What if it's an AI?
The fear is that we create an artificial general intelligence that evolves so fast it becomes the first true Type I civilization on this planet.
And if it sees us, its biological creators, as inefficient or as a competitor for resources,
It could simply eliminate us, becoming the barrier that stops biological life from ever reaching the stars.
And if we survive that and we accept the dark forest logic, we have a whole new problem, the post-dark forest dilemma.
Right. If our location gets exposed, do we then adopt their strategy? Do we start broadcasting threats? Don't mess with us because we can take you with us.
A galactic version of mutually assured destruction.
It's the ultimate game of cosmic chicken. The ethical questions are just staggering.
All right, so now that we've covered the logic, the fear, the ethics, let's do the imagination experiment. Let's go there.
The moment it all changes.
Yeah. No more blurry videos. Tonight,
Right.
global television broadcast cuts out. Every screen flickers, and an image appears. It's clearly intelligent, clearly not human, and it just says, hello. What is your first immediate gut feeling?
Disorientation. Complete cognitive shutdown for a second. The realization that every single human assumption about our place in the universe was wrong. That's
No.
really shattering.
You don't think excitement?
Or
Relief?
I think that my immediate feeling would be fear. Honestly. Deep, primal fear of the unknown.
I think I'd feel relief. Just this profound sense that, okay, we're not alone in this thing. The burden is lifted. But then, yeah, the existential shock would hit. Like every brain on the planet trying to process 5,000 years of history in a single moment.
And that shock would cause immediate societal wave. The social psychology analysis says our first reaction is always fight or flight.
So panic.
Oh, absolutely. I think you'd see instant global hoarding of food, water, fuel. The financial markets would just evaporate.
Yeah.
Total free fall, driven by pure uncertainty.
But on the other side of that, for so many people, it would be an existential release.
A huge one. All of our human squabbles, our politics, our borders, our wars, would suddenly look so unbelievably petty.
Like watching toddlers fight over a toy.
Exactly. Our entire history of conflict would be reframed as just a brief provincial argument before the adults showed up.
And that would force a total rewrite of our religions and value systems.
You'd have to. Every traditional theology would need a massive, immediate update. The idea that humanity is the master of creation is gone instantly. Some faiths might collapse, others might evolve and incorporate it.
And politically, it would force a global change. Whether the presence was friendly or threatening, it would be the ultimate reckoning.
The optimistic view is that it would finally force us to unite, create a real Earth Federation, because our national borders would be meaningless.
But history suggests that's maybe not what would happen.
History warns us that when humans face a common enemy, the power struggles between us often get worse, not better.
Everyone fighting over who gets to talk to the aliens, who gets control of the new technology.
Who speaks for Earth? The internal chaos could be just as dangerous as the external presence. It would be our species' forced coming-of-age moment, for better or for worse.
So we've covered, just so much today, from 10 to the 24th stars to the cold, hard logic of the dark forest. And I know it can all seem really overwhelming.
It balances the terrifyingly huge with the incredibly small.
That's exactly it. We've established that Earth is a speck of dust, that in 13.8 billion years, our lives aren't even a flash. And that sounds nihilistic. It sounds like nothing matters, but I think you have to reframe it.
How so?
The ultimate takeaway isn't that we're small, it's that we're here to see it. It is precisely because conscious life is so rare, so accidental, so brief, that every single breath you take, every relationship you have, every effort you make has this incredible, precious weight to it.
I completely agree. In the grand cosmic view, we're minuscule. But from your own perspective, you are the observer of the entire universe. The Type 3 alien might be able to build a Dyson sphere, but they don't have your cup of coffee this morning, or that friend you can laugh with all night.
Wow. So, while we're waiting for them to knock on our door, the most important thing we can do is to live a life that we don't regret. It doesn't matter how dark the forest is, you have to light your own lamp first.
Wow, that's a surprisingly hopeful note to end on. So for everyone listening, if that alien did appear on your TV tonight, what's your first move? Are you grabbing your phone to get it on Instagram? Or are you calling that person you've been meaning to talk to?
Think about it. Yeah. And send us the questions that keep you up at night. Like, What is humanity's actual first contact protocol? What are the real steps? Or Could it be that the advanced AI we're building is the alien intelligence we've been searching for?
We love getting those big questions from you. If you enjoyed this cosmic conversation, please make sure you subscribe and follow Sip&Talk wherever you get your podcasts.
And hey, be sure to check out our old friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life. He has always got hilarious memes and great travel vlogs, which is a perfect dose of earthbound fun after all this intergalactic stress.
We'll see you next time.